Got a visitor. Hey, Spurgeon. Say hey, Spurgeon. He doesn't want. He wants to go down and play. He's still a kitten. Spurge, say hey. All right, I'm gonna show you guys. Whoop, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be held. Bye, Spurgie. Yeah, he's grumpy. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. So today guys, I'm coming to you with another tag video. This is called the Adapt a Book tag. And it was originally done by Ryan over at Seeking Stories. His channel is about books and filmmaking and storytelling of all kinds really. But I saw this video when it was done by Leslie at The Nerdy Narrative. And so I'll link both of their channels down there in the description so you can check them out, which you definitely should. So this tag is all about adapting a book into a movie, and it's got some questions about that. And I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of time before I jump into this. I will be adapting, I gotta turn around and grab it. So not prepared. I'm gonna be adapting Foundryside here, one of my recent 5-star reads. And so I'm just gonna go through the 10 questions and let's talk about them. So guys, before I start, there will be kind of small spoilers for early in the book, like the early part of the book. I'm not going to spoil anything later on, but I will talk about some things that happen in a couple of the earlier chapters. So if you don't want any kind of spoilers at all for Foundryside, then you should come back after you read it. But I'm not going to spoil anything major, nothing that would ruin the book if you knew about it in advance. So just be aware of that before I continue. Boosh, without any more waiting. So 1, congratulations! You're attempting to adapt a favorite book into a movie, and a film studio is interested in financially backing your adaptation. But they want a brief summary of the story in 25 words or less. Give it all you've got in no more than 25 words. So this took some doing, but I got it down to 24 words. I actually have to bust out my phone for this. So here we go. I would describe Foundryside to the movie studios as group of unlikely allies try to steal world-altering elder relics in a cyberpunk Venetian setting with a coding magic system that changes reality. So that is, I mean, that's the elevator pitch for Foundryside. I think that sounds awesome. Now, that's overselling some of its attributes while not mentioning other ones, but I mean, you have to cut some stuff and cut down some verbiage if you're getting it to 25 words. So if you have a better description of Foundryside in 25 words, boom, pop it down there in the comments. So question number 2, you've secured funding, but the budget dictates that a character has to be cut. Who's out? And no cheating, this has to be a named character, not Goblin number 2. So I think that I would probably cut, I had to think about this for a while and who could actually go and the story still be the same. And it's gotta be either Giovanni or Claudia, 2 of the scrappers that Sanchia works for, who give her the initial mission, and you know, they have kind of the haphazard scribing labs. They serve a similar function, and they're not super different in personality. So even when we return to the scrappers later, really it could be either Giovanni or Claudia. I think I like Claudia better, so I'm gonna say Giovanni's cut. Sorry, bud. You're gone. Question number 3, which scene is going to be difficult to adapt from book to movie script? So this is a good question, because not everything that is in the book, that is in any book really, can translate well to the screen. And I think any scene where Sanchia is talking to Clef is going to be really, really difficult to translate into a movie script, because inner monologuing in movies is boring, especially if it happens for long periods of time. And since that's the way she and Clef communicate, that is going to be a real challenge to translate from the book to the actual script. I don't know what you could actually do to fix that. I have no idea. I am not a filmmaker. I am not a skilled filmmaker. I barely know any directors, as you're going to see when I get to the director question. So I don't know how you would get around that, but you would have to find some way to where it wasn't just Sanchia listening to a voice and talking back to it in her head periodically. Maybe she hears the voice and responds like not in her head. I don't know. If you know more about movies, give me a way around that, because this isn't unique to Foundryside. Boom! Question number 4. Your script is complete. Which scene do you anticipate being the most difficult to film? So, From what I understand, night scenes are really hard to film just because of the lack of lighting and stuff, and I picture most of this book taking place at night anyway, and all the heist stuff taking place at night. So really all of that stuff would be challenging since there's a lot going on and a lot of action happening in the dark. So that will definitely be hard, but I think the hardest thing to do right and make not look stupid or cheesy with special effects is the gravity belts. And if you've read this book, you know what the gravity belts do when, say, one of them malfunctions. Stuff like that, while awesome when reading about, I'm not sure how you would film that happening because it almost has to be CGI. I'm not even sure you can do it with regular special effects. Okay, the kitten has knocked over his food bag and is now, he likes to paw at it just to make noise. So I'll stop so you can hear him. You hungry, Spurgeon? So yeah, I'm not sure you could do it with traditional effects and filming that kind of stuff. Filming anything where, you know, people walk like they're on the moon and gravity's not kind of the same and people are bouncing and or flying. Flying has a tendency to look dumb unless you've got like super good special effects. So we'll see. We'll see. But I think any of the night heists or the stuff with the gravity belts would definitely be the hardest, I think, to film. Question number 5. What themes are vital to the story which must not be lost in translation? So in Foundryside, there's a lot of talking about personal agency and free will versus being enslaved, whether you're a human or an object. Since scribing kind of gives this quasi-sentience to items, who's to say that people aren't these kind of quasi-sentient tools for the people in power? And, you know, Sanchia struggles with her time of the plantation as a slave, and so I think it's important to still talk about that and to make sure they continue to focus on the class divide between the haves and the have-nots, the haves in the campos, the members of the merchant houses, and the have-nots in the commons, in which there is no laws at all because nobody cares, as long as it happens outside of the houses, and as well as asking that question, when are you truly free? Even when you escape slavery, are you actually free, or are you mentally still chained up to your former masters? So I think it's definitely got to include that stuff. It's not just an action flick. This could easily be made into an action heist flick and with no kind of deeper themes running under it, and I think that would be a mistake. So that stuff definitely has to stay. Question number 6, casting has begun. Which actors are going to play your main characters? So, the 4 main characters, I didn't want to do everybody, so just want to do the 4 main ones. We're going to have Sanchia, Gregor, Orso, and Berenice. And it took me, I spent a long time on this, guys, trying to figure out who I was going to cast. So, I hope these are not like completely against your picturing, but this is the best I have for what I was picturing. So for Sanchia, I'd probably cast Maisie Williams because she's short and young. Because Sanchia is about 20, and Maisie Williams she plays Arya in Game of Thrones, and is also in Doctor Who. That's where I saw her first. And she looks young like Sanchia, and she's short like Sanchia. And so she's small, and they constantly talk about how small Sanchia is, but is also strong. So I thought she would be a good Sanchia. For Gregor, I've got beard Chris Evans, because I don't really know how old Gregor is. They don't really say it in the book, if I recall, but maybe it's because I associate Chris Evans with Captain America, but I mean, he's in his 40s, so I think that works for Gregor, and he's definitely got the beard because he's definitely more hardened. He's the military veteran, the hardened soldier. So he can't be babyface Captain America, but bearded Chris Evans from, like, when does he have the beard? Endgame? Infinity War? Whichever one he's got the beard in. Yeah, Infinity War, that's it. So he gets to play Gregor. Now, for Orso, this was hard. I wanted to just get Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, but he's like 100 now. So for Orso, John Malkovich, guys. Like, have you ever seen a movie with John Malkovich? He's mean. He's so mean.
And if you say a word about this over the radio, the next wings you see will belong to the flies buzzing over your rotting corpse.
And so I just pictured him being perfect, being really mean to everybody the way Orso is. And he's older too. So I think John Malkovich, and he's cussing at everybody. What Scrummin doing in here, you Scrummin morons? And that's just who John Malkovich is in like every movie. Oh, he's in that new Steve Carell thing on Netflix, Space Force or whatever. So that guy, I'm gonna flash up a picture. I don't know why I have to talk about it. I'll flash him up there. So that is who I picture as Orso, but with like more hair, because he's supposed to have like gray hair and stuff. So John Malkovich with hair. And then for Berenice, I looked up her description. There's not a lot other than that she's tall, and I even looked up like heights of, and it was just going nowhere. She just has dark hair. So you know what? Emma Watson, Hermione from Harry Potter, and she's done a bunch of stuff, The Circle, and a bunch of other stuff since then. But she is, and again, maybe it's Hermione vibes, being the nerd who like plays on the computer, because again, Berenice is really the hacker character. So Emma Watson gets to play Berenice. If you hate my casting, I apologize. You are more than welcome to make your own, or just tell me who I should cast down there in the comments. This was my favorite one to do, really. Question number 7, who's going to direct your book-to-movie adaptation and why? So I don't know jack about directors. I just don't. I don't watch a ton of movies, and I don't really follow directors. So, I mean, I could say Steven Spielberg just because the Indiana Jones movies, the old Indiana Jones movies, have that kind of feel, like an adventure feel that Foundryside has. But also, like, Christopher Nolan and his Batman trilogy is also does really good with like the grit and stuff at night. But they're all super humorless, and I think some of the kind of lighter tone would be lost with that. So I'm gonna say it's co-directed by Steven Spielberg and Christopher Nolan. I don't know anything about directors, but I know that Christopher Nolan does dark stuff, and Steven Spielberg does adventure stuff. That's what I got. You know who's not writing the script, though? George Lucas. Number 8. What is the ideal length of this film? Keeping in mind that most movie studios can't release a movie longer than 3 hours. Oof, I forgot about this question, so I didn't think about it beforehand. So the problem with book-to-movie adaptations is you don't want to leave important stuff out. And I was trying to think of things that could be cut or shortened in Foundryside. It's got to be at least 2 hours. So maybe 2 hours, maybe 2:15. We have seen that people will sit for longer. I mean, Infinity War was 2.5, Endgame was 3. So people will sit longer. So I'm going to say 2 hours. I'm going to say 120 minutes is what we would need to tell this tale. Maybe I'm leaving myself 2 hours and 15 minutes if we need that extra time. But I think a lot of the stuff that is described, I think a lot of it could be pared down or seen shortened to where we could still get the main thrust and the awesome action that we see. We could certainly cut down some of the scribing scenes, but with the humans scribing the objects and then just dealing with kind of the scribing language of the objects. A lot of that could be cut down. A couple of the heists could probably be combined. Remember, there's the heist at the Foundry, and there's a lot of heists in this. So I think a couple of them could be shortened or combined to kind of keep it at a nice 120-minute runtime. Question number 9, alas! I don't like questions that start with alas. The studio dictates your script is too long. I just kept it to 2 hours for you, movie theater. A scene must go. Which one is the victim? I actually thought about this, and then now I've forgotten it now that I've started filming. Hold on, I'm gonna have to think. So I thought about this, and then I cut all the time that I spent looking through the book and trying to, I literally thought about what scene I could cut, and then I probably forgot. So I don't know, but I think you would have to cut something with Gregor. Either his introduction scene with Whip, where he's trying to find information about the waterfront, but maybe not that one. Maybe one of the scenes where he's talking to his mom, because that is kind of extraneous. Or really maybe the scene where he investigates the warehouse where Sanchia's contact was. What's that guy's name? Sark Man, it's hard to remember that the names of these minor characters. But that's just another fight that Gregor gets into. Also, you're also welcome to cut some of the scribing conversations that happen a lot. There's a lot of standing around where they talk about scribing, so some of those scenes could be cut as well. You're not gonna stop me, movie studios. I'll cut what I need to cut. And then finally, pushback time. As the film's producer, you're allowed to select one scene which can never be cut. What scene do you choose? So I read this question not as what obvious scene, because obviously, for like Lord of the Rings or Return of the King, you can't cut the scene where Frodo drops the ring in Mount Doom. Like, obviously. So I don't want to include the obvious scenes, like the main climax of the book. Obviously. So I'm not going to say an obvious scene. So I think what can't be cut are the flashbacks that Sanchia has to the plantations. I think that those are necessary scenes for us to see how horrible they were and the horrors that Sanchia suffered at the plantations. In addition, the things that were done to her by the owners of the plantation, which kind of, ties into her powers. I think all of that is very important that we see. So I think those would be cool flashback scenes. So I do not allow the movie studios to cut the plantation flashbacks. So that is my adapt a book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really like this. I'm probably going to do multiples of these as I find books that I really like. I know you thought I was going to do Senlin Ascends because I love that book, and I am going to do it, but just not this one. This one was Foundryside, but I'd do one for Senlin. I would do one for Trader's Blade and the Greatcoats. So I will probably do more of these videos as I think of more books that I think would make really cool movies. I'm not going to tag anybody, but if you want to do this and talk about a book, adapting a book into film using this tag, you definitely should, and I want to see it. But let me know that you've done it so that I can go and watch your video as well. So if you disagree with any of my choices, please let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll see you next time.